This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, our London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows at the top of the floor Garrett house are top hinged casements.
What do you mean by that? Wait, what do you mean by top case casements? I don't know.
Obviously, if anything had thrown out in the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go fetch help, but my trusty Rolly and there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report in that front, sir.
All right. Seems reasonable, but I think something he might be hiding something, not gonna lie. Well, this is quite startling. Top hinge casement windows.
That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Well, here's the thing. If it's not part of the case, why should you investigate it if it's not relevant? I'm just saying. And sorry for that vibration. Holy shit, I just moved my mic for a bit. I just barely touched it. What the hell?
Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
What do you mean every time? This is the first time you've ever talked and said something like this.
No, sir.
Poor guy, though. Like, seriously, they needed more. If the bobbies are like this, I mean, yeah, bobbies. I'm saying like that. Are like this. They should at least give them a break, or I don't know, like a more people to handle the job. I'm sorry, but what exactly is a top hinge casement window?
And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. This is getting annoying. You should, like, I don't know, read a book. Use that book that Susato has right now, your judicial assistant, since she has the book about almost everything, apparently.
Of course, sorry.
See, she had it already. What the hell? And there's cars and police sirens happening outside my window. Holy shit.
I found it, Mr. Naruhito. Cast your mind back to the windows at Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room. Alright, I'll try. Flashback, flashback. Oh shit, he did. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Huh. I mean, what if we just get rid of the hinge? That could be the case. Well, here's the thing. If we get rid of the hinge, it will still close. Huh. Yeah, that does not buy it. If we're claiming that the freaking book and knife traveled from, where's the map? From all the way to the other street. Our reasoning and logic has been thrown out the window. Get it? But as it's a top hinge casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see.
Alright, I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature. Good thing your judicial assistant had it. Because you are an idiot. And she's a smartass. Why isn't she the lawyer? Our country allows women to work? What the fuck? Is its stay a mental bar which prevents the window from being open beyond a certain amount.
Well, here's the thing. It's not preventing it to be opened. It's more like preventing it to stay closed when it's open. So, it prevents it opening? Well, it's all news to me. I mean, what kind of window is that, by the way? Why not have it be like a slide window or something like that? Or just up, like you pushed it up. Like, what kind of window is that? Kind of sucks.
Absolutely correct, sir.
I guess it's like old time, I guess. I don't know.
In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below.
Not only that, there would have been a mark on the windows, on the glass. Like, oh shit, it broke.
At least she threw it hard, I'm just saying.
But well, there's no glass around it, I guess. No!
You see the problem then? Good. Your education in Windows is complete. You can now graduate from college. Good for you. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already.
They can't. He's gonna be like, okay, whatever. Yeah, don't be that dramatic, Inosuke. We'll find a way.
Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. And because of you. Oh, yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong.
Oh my god. How is this happening? I haven't even started to cross the examination yet! And already my argument's been destroyed. Well, since you have rights, Counselor, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court will await your cross-examination. I'm surprised, like, the freaking jury was like, wait a minute! We believed him! Then we find out the window can't open up? We're guilty! Like that instead. My lord, oh good. Another desperate situation. Well, isn't every situation desperate? I'm just saying. The cross-examination. Constable Beate's report.
This case is nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett.
How could you be so certain? How can you be so certain about that? How can you say that first? Oh shit, he does say that.
Ah, yes, good question, sir. And the answer is this. It is a noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all of us policemen of our sworn duty.
He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. I do remember he showed us before. Well, while he was sleeping and everything.
To patrol the streets of London town to uphold the peace of the common man. It's what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here beside my long-suffering wife and tell you a Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes immediately. Sir! Oh, Rolly, you're so manly. Of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pa. Oh, Rolly.
Oh my god! He's like, no, none of that is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that the case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garridem? Ah, I say so! Wait, I just realized we were asking them about that question and then he started going on a tangent. Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
I see, sir. You should have said so earlier. He did!
Yes, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then.
Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. And I'll go back to bed. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing.
Yes?
I very much like you to all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take some tales of us London Bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles.
Aww, that's so cute. We will. You know, it's gonna be like, oh yes, I wasn't planning to go back just yet, but I've only just arrived here.
So to the end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your personal.
Wait, what? Isn't that isn't that basically a badge for you? Why are you giving this to us?
But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears.
Thank you, I'll try. Constable Beate's warrant card has been entered to the court record. Why is he giving this to us, a foreigner? A guy who you barely know, a stranger. Why are you giving us this? It's not even evidence. A warrant card. I'm gonna look at it right now and read it thoroughly. So, warrant card. A small folding wallet that identifies London Bobbies and contains rules of conduct of which they must adhere. Okay? Item number 1. A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. Item 2. The patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Alright, and the last one, Metropolitan Police Regulations. Item 1.
Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the Beat in which they are discovered belongs to the Beat himself or whatever. And item 2, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Oh, okay. So where is his beat? And I guess it wasn't really mandatory for him to have. I guess he has many. It's like a booklet for him to remember. So if he's a respected Bobby, he would already know everything. He just carries it around for the sake of others, I guess. By which you mean they don't open fully? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They just allow
They just sorry, I can't really. Oh my god, every time I do his voice it's just tiring but funny.
They're just there allow a bit of air through the house. You see, they're restricted as to how much they open.
And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark that on the map. Okay, thank you, Beate. It should be falling on that. And meanwhile, the body was found over here.
Unless we can prove the body was found here.
But why would the police lie?
Here is the location where objects would have been fallen.
Yes, directly opposite to the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road.
Would it have just been so hard for somebody to mention this top hinged casement thing before? Well, he can't really talk during a summation examination, so I'm just saying. Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garredup's house is furnished with?
Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
What? We have something to say? Rolly? Patricia? Do you have something to say, Mrs. Beate?
Oh, sorry.
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see.
Oh, I hadn't realized.
Oh yes, that street, Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
I'm going to sleep again. Oh, how? Oh, look at that. Typical man. Falling asleep whenever the wife talks. Oh, he's not even listening. Typical man. I guess that's what marriage does to you, I guess. Hey, listen to your wife. Constable Beate.
Yes, that's right. I'm a misogynist. I'm so sorry. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Garredup household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see, sir?
That really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something.
Okay, what's the clarification you want to know? If the Garredup household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is a well?
Outside Mrs. Garredup's house. Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my boat.
Beat, not boat. Dumbass. Okay. I see. I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of the Briar Road, we would never have been able to go to the meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a Bobby after all.
Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners and also sacrificing their love lives.
Do you know what I think? I think it was a good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work.
What, getting attacked by having a woman be attacked in front of a different beat? That's not what it is. If it's the Lord's way, there would be no crime.
Don't you think so, my darling? That must be it, Pat. My love, I'm not a misogynist. I'm so sorry. I'm just too tired. I needed to sleep. I did not mean to fall asleep when you were talking. I'm so sorry. That must be it.
And then perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Miss Naruto. I'll take care of it immediately.
How do you read my mind? Okay, pavement, case file. The pavement where the victim was found lies just outside a constable's beat. Beat. Beat is beat. The border of which runs down the middle of Briar Road.
And now it's my turn, I think.
It is? It is? I guess. Alright, what do you have to say? But according to my notes here, the sun has gone down already and it was dark.
Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
Are you sure you weren't busy staring at each other's eyes? Are you sure it wasn't freaking Rolly that was like falling asleep, but you were like,
Oh, he's so dreamy. I can't.
sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
It's already leading in your eyes, madam. Can it guide you answer the question?
If a flaming book had gone across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star.
Aww. That's so true. You would have like, oh my god, make a wish! Like that.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish
Upon, oh my god, I was so right.
Let Rolly be an inspector, I would have said 3 times at least.
He won't be able to sleep more.
Of course, what with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see the stars.
In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir, that is correct, sir. Are you as sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir?
It certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
And when we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
Alright.
And he's like, alright, yes, sir, yes, sir. As he does the salute again.
Yes, you said you went to a nearby police box and fetched another officer, is that right?
That's right, sir. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat. So Rolly told me the way, only I sort of lost on the way.
Wait, we were sort of lost on the way?
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. You got lost and was found in my arms when we first met. I love it. I really love it. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
Oh, please.
So I suppose
Suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir.
Wait, he was by himself? Okay. What if, hear me out, what if he moved the body? I'm just saying. So to move it on when it's not on his beat. I didn't take my eyes off the crime scene, alright. Nothing to report.
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I can swear on that yard's honor, sir.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seem altogether regular to me.
This burned copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garret's household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the victim's hand? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Okay, yes, even though that's a good point that he mentioned right here. Even though he said like the window wouldn't have been able to make the book and knife travel all the way here, it would have fallen right here. But realistically speaking, but here's the truth. in fact, it is still Mr. and Mrs. Scaradib's book. So how did it still manage to get over here? So our theory still holds. So we need to understand how the book got here. Honestly, my theory right now is they must have moved the body. I'm just saying. Alright. And how are we gonna prove that? Really?
Could it be that different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well?
Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. That's so true. Why would she have the book on her hand? She would have it in her bag, unless she found it.
Well, sir, that book was a lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene.
Okay. Is that so? Is it true? Is that really true? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how the knife ended up in her back and how the book ended up in her hand. There must have been a common thread between them. Alright. Oh! She's gonna add something!
Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I wasn't really. I mean, what's she doing? Again?
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable.
Well, I respect. We love women right here. Well, Yonosuke does. Because I'm making it seem like I don't love women. No, I do too. But anyways, Rinosuke respects a woman's input because he respects Susato the most out of everyone.
You might just see me as a wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word.
I really don't remember just ever suggesting that I doubted you. It's not even a gender thing. It's a hair thing. We don't trust blonde people here. I'm just kidding.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beate. We here respect women in this court. I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desired. We're not misogynists in here in this court. We do not allow it. We are, what they say, woke here. Sometimes, the path of the least resistance is a sage one.
And that was a very loud mother.
I heard that. That Japanese man thinks the policeman's wife counts as for nothing, does he? Huh? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Duly noted, Mrs. Beate.
Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off
Sometimes, wait, what do you mean by that? Mrs. Beate, nobody is questioning what you've told us.
I saw it. I did that evening. I saw it clearly. The little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny carved bag slinking away from the scene. And I know I didn't see as well. Well, I didn't see as well. I didn't see a flaming book or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You also mentioned something about your poor sense of direction.
Oh, yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
What the hell are you talking?
Excuse me.
What? My head, it hurts. I'm trying to wake up from this nightmare. Constable B, is there a problem?
No, not really, sir. Oh, I'm awake. No, sir. No problem, sir.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering the last thing happened that evening is all.
Oh, you mean Mrs. Beate lost her way on the night of the incident?
Well, you see, I sent her out to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone for a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes.
Inside 10 minutes? What do you mean inside? Oh, just inside within the 10 minutes? I guess. I don't know.
But my darling was gone for a good 15. Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly. The bouquet?
Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for a farthings of a half pennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Yes, how romantic.
I've forgotten all about it until now. Just now. Had you, my darling. Ah! Oh, yes! But that was just between us. Not talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise. Really? Oh.
What was that all about? Constable Beate looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruto. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beate about the bouquet. Alright. Mrs. Beate, this bouquet of you just mentioned. I'd like you to add the details about it in your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Bouquet. I remember the day when I gave a bouquet to someone. It was very romantic. But sadly, it did not end well. Oh well.
Okay, well, tell me about this bouquet that you're talking about. You mean you dropped your bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset when he ran over and saw it was a woman with a stuck knife in her back. I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in the dark where the street lights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
So, and then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on.
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted the bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need a reminding, Mrs. Beate, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard the voice calling me from the other side of the road.
It's so funny that she thinks there was a misdirection. I mean, misdirection. Like, that the body is dead. Like, it's not. Your husband, presumably.
That's right, silly me. I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street.
Are you sure? I feel like your sense of direction was pretty spot on that night. Huh.
Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time, I can't think how it got there. I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite.
Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again. But when we left the scene, the beautiful rose Rolly brought me with the change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
Alright, I think I'm about to speak up here. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose?
Oh wow, they're too poor. Are they too poor for you, Barry Von Zieg's, to make it subscribed, have it count as a bouquet for them? Wow.
Oh, yes, that's it. That's a bouquet that Rolly bought me for my anniversary with the old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Why not from his actual job, though? Well, I guess that's for rent, I guess. But maybe just call it a rose.
Tell us, Lord 16, where did he come by with the flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garrett household.
In front of the Garredub's house?
Although it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh.
Aw, give her, please give her Rose back on her after the freaking crime has been resolved. Give it back. A present from Patricia Beate from her husband Rolly. The shock of seeing the stab victim caused Mrs. Beate to drop the rose where she stood.
But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief, rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget, Mrs. Beate.
Oh, you better. She's gonna be yanking on your robes later on, so just letting you know. Alright, nothing strange to report. So, the rose right here.
An English rose. It's such a beautiful rose.
Ah, this is a rose, is it? I've never seen one of before. Do you not take interest of flowers, Mr. Naruto? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know 3 types at least.
Gosh, 3?
Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and a cherry blossom.
Perhaps you should consider branching out,
Learning some that aren't fruit tree based, for example. Yeah, I guess a flower counts as a fucking thing. It's a very stylish paper the flower's wrapped in, isn't it?
It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruto.
Oh, I suppose it's because I'm not used to seeing English print. It's so exotic to me. I see. Is something wrong? Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in an English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake. Ah, Sada-san, so you do love your cakes. What the fuck? No, that's not what she's trying to say. Okay, just making fun of you, Inosuke. What happened was before I dropped the bouquet, I ended up losing my way. I did leave the scene to go fetch help. I trust you, obviously I had a note. We have to see, she said, she said, in this case, I should go to London, Bobby, and everything. Okay. I did leave to go fetch, but my trusty Rolly has been sure nothing was disturbed. What happened was I dropped the bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while. Okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I didn't take my eyes to the scene for a moment, sir. Nothing strange to report in front of me, sir. Okay. If that's a thing, then what about the rose? Fuck it, dude. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, fuck it, dude. You claim, Constable Beate, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be. And he falls asleep. How convenient of him.
What? What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beate, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection! Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road, to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of the marriage bouquet, I forgot how to say it. Bouquet, I guess, I don't know. If a single sorry bloom can be so described. Hey, don't shame the poor guy. He could barely afford a flower, come on. No doubt it was blown to the wind across the street. Back to the gutter where it belongs.
Marriage?
Objection.
Meagered, or meagre, or whatever the word is. But if it were that case, but if that were the case, why did Constable Beate not testify to that fact?
Oh shit, he got me!
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beate swore to that on the Scotland Yard's honor.
But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet that we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around.
What are you talking about?
Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beate's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrida's book. Mr. Garrett's copy of the Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have struck the pane in the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard of Mrs. Beate's bouquet, I'm sorry if you heard that notification. That was in the middle of the freaking recording. I'm so sorry about that. Anyways, back to the story. Should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. There's no logical explanation for these things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong.
Don't you listen to words that a scrawny lawyer says? Winery on her book about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking. That's what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Garrett has come round. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrett, but deliberately meddling with the scene of the crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had to cause to carry such an elaborate deception?
Yes, there's someone who tampered with this crime scene of that on that night. Sorry, I should have read the whole thing rather than fucking assume an ad-lib. What the hell? All the evidence and all that testimony points to that one particular person. Well, obviously, we know. Who else?
Consort, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime?
I forgot to get the chance to read these. Mrs. Garrett's wife, retired army man, and you, Herlock Sholmes, the Greek detective. Barabon 6 we already read before. The victim of the case was found with the knife on her back. Luckily, the wound didn't prove fatal, but the woman remains unconscious in her hospital. It was her! She tampered with her own crime scene. No, I'm just kidding. The wife of the constable, Rolly Beate, who was a witness of to the incident. She's relatively recently married and fiercely proud of her policeman husband. A devoted London Bobby who witnessed the incident whilst walking down the street with his wife of a year, Patricia. And it's him, by the way. Obviously, there's only one person who could have been. Constable Rolly Beate, it was you!
What? A policeman? A member of the Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no straighter than my husband.
There's no one straighter than my husband. I wouldn't doubt that because he wouldn't have married you.
No, Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beate, what about Inspector Gregson? I think he works tirelessly. You said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Why would it be him? If that was true, Constable Beate would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beate, it was after the defendant had fled the scene.
Well.
Objection!
Enough! First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate the policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something.
That's right. He's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there. That's all. So why would he have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense.
You've offered no motives for this alleged tampering.
I hope he wakes up, by the way. I know he's sleeping. He's not right now. He's trying to get away with it.
And until you do, your accusations have nothing to do your accusations are nothing but empty threats.
I can't read. Ryunosuke, Constable Beate had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the crime scene. That's the key to the entire affair. Mrs. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery? We do. He moved it.
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against the London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need to point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, will you now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering?
Yes, my lord. Come on. We already know what we need to do. Well, I know. I don't know about you guys. Ryunosuke. Constable Beate's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the book fell, where the bouquet fell, where the victim fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what the Bobby had to cover up at all costs.
What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road, we saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everyone has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What?
What are you trying to say, Ryunosuke? Keep it going. Don't leave us in suspense. Keep talking.
I'm beginning to wonder where this torture-minute trial will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing the crime actually took place that evening?
Well, right here on the other side of the road.
But that's...
On the opposite side of the road?
I don't understand. You don't need to understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garrido's book fell directly down from the open window above. And your bouquet, Mrs. Beate, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
Good gracious.
He moved the body because he wanted to spend his anniversary with his beloved.
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment of the attack took place.
That's right, I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was a typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid. That was actually the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true.
It can't have been. Didn't you say you have bad sense of direction, Patricia? Constable Beate then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road.
Extraordinary.
But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume.
Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Ziek said it wasn't noticed until the morning as it laid where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't have been seen in the dark, obviously.
Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. Don't worry, we'll give it back to you. Don't worry about it. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beate?
I'm so sleeping.
I'm just kidding. I'm not sleeping at all. I'm wide awake. Yeah.
Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Rolly, it isn't true, is it? That lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night, everything come out, everything exposed.
Yep. It's true.
Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all.
Good. Good golly! Order! 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 What on earth is the meaning of all of this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Exactly.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town.
Are you not gonna say?
I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation, for everything.
Come on, Ryunosuke, you know why he moved it. I have a possible explanation.
And why would you want to present this? We already know too.
But why on that particular evening, Constable Beate felt compelled to move the scene of the crime? I can think of one reason.
What? How could you possibly know? I didn't know either. I thought I was just lying. I was just bluffing. Bluffing? Not bluffing, yeah, bluffing. I was just bluffing, just like you do. You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman?
And yet, Lord Von Six, is it this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far?
Ah, that's alright. I'm so sorry. I should now assume he's an idiot. Even though he says baseless accusations. It's not baseless at all, I guess.
I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I can have a very good idea of the feelings behind the man's actions.
What gives away the motive of the Constable Beate's unthinkable actions?
This is really unnecessary because we could just assume. Like, they can just assume why he moved it. But anyways, what he wanted us to do is present this warrant card.
Take that!
I realized that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only arrived from Japan. Which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies are completely news to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example.
Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways.
If only our policemen did that, honestly. Kept us safe and not make it seem like we're in danger.
There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly.
But for a Constable Beate, the day in question was special.
Special? How?
On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes. It was our very first wedding anniversary.
Oh! I don't have a heart. I did not know it was about to love. Holy shit.
Constable Beate had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal.
When he and Mrs. Beate stumbled upon the crime scene on Longbriar Road. When he saw the shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them. What must have gone through the man's mind?
And then I'll talk to you like a Ryunosuke.
But sir, just on the particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B put up with a lot of being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my wife, my dear wife, how much I care.
That's why you moved it. This is the warrant card of the Constable B offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules of patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Constable Beate. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Honestly, it's admirable that he moved it though. Like, I respect him that he moved the crime scene because for the sake of his wedding anniversary. But here's the thing, isn't it though, wouldn't finding a body technically be, I don't know, a dead, like something, not something dead, but a dead giveaway knowing that your wedding anniversary is already ruined? Because you just witnessed a body, like a crime scene in front of you. That itself is just ruins the anniversary. I'm just saying. And Rolly, what do you have to say?
Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. How did he know?
So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh,
Exactly. You better be grateful, madam. Your husband is willing to commit a crime for you. To summarize, the incident actually occurred to the Constable Beate's beat.
Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done?
Give him a slap on the wrist, man. He was just doing it for his wife. He's tired. Come on, he deserves one day. Hire more police officers.
it was the first time since I became a copper that I ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We got to report this situation. We got to report this to the station as quickly as possible.
And I did not mean to press that.
But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help the detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why?
Why indeed, huh?
It's all a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she had to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat of mine, Pat. So you'll have to go to the police box that covers it, turn right along Meekstrom Street, and then...
He says. As he explains the whole situation to her. So romantic. Ladies, make sure you get a man that's willing to commit a crime. Willing to, contaminate a crime scene for you. Get a man like that. Shut up, Ricky. Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted, that one night, to take my petition out for dinner. Oh, Rolly. Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. just across the street, to the east pavement of the Riot Road, which falls under the neighboring Beate's care.
You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Ah, I see your meaning now.
Should have checked if she was alive, at least breathing. My God, you were moving here.
But God got me back from my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I would have helped you.
It's like I would have helped you move it.
I should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly.
And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of this road to the other in total?
4. It was, yes, sir, definitely 4.
3 of them dropped on Mr. Natsumi, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the other books when all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I can't read or pronounce words.
Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it.
How you found it? What do you mean?
When we first ran over to the scene, the victim had already been holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir.
Interesting. The 4th book's information has been updated to the court record.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
My lord.
Yes, Lord One Six.
I believe that concludes the cross-examination for the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir. Oh, Mr. Prosecutor, sir, what will become of my Rolly? What will become to him?
For now, you're free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This is all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning to him. But we're coming home.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Moaning to him? What?
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable.
Sir?
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson into your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of the crime.
Yes, he doesn't get in trouble. Yay! Even though it's a crime, but I do hope for the best for this couple. I really do.
Never again, sir. Never again, sir. You mean to say?
Leave, now. This trial is not over yet. I can't reveal to the court I have a heart. Just leave. I have a reputation.
Sir!
And that concludes Rolly and Patricia now. Well, have a good night, Rolly. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, quite a startling revelation, and I must say. Whoever thought it was body transplanting the entire scene of the crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here, principally. That they accuse Mr. Sasuke Natsume is the only person who could have possibly have committed this crime.
There's no way! We just clearly stated where the body was on. No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there's someone else. Another person that could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of the possibility already.
Lord Van Six, is this true?
Fuck! She figured me out! Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You will name the other person who could have perpetrated a crime.
Well, I was going to present this. You. The defense would once again like to request a cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier, in order to finally reveal the truth about this case. It's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Miss Joanne Garadeb. Me? Oh, dearie me!
Objection!
You think we're gonna do that? That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the night of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In that course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the window open top hinge casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we know now to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could have laid your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before? Answer the question. And lie, I dare you. I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all the regalia said members of the jury needed to testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
What did you say? No! I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4. Do not speak for me!
Oh?
Make no mistake. You jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have gone from anywhere. Come from anywhere, I mean. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that?
Are you joking?
What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb?
You're admitting that you have a lot of them in your freaking house? No, you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear me? I couldn't bear it. Oh, poor woman. So yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You aren't going to prove it to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now, chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I have evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it all at her already.
Then take the stand, juror.
Oh?
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. I fucking hate her now. Holy shit. I understand now, you my Nipponese friend. I hate her guts too.
Thank you, Lord Von Zieks.
I'm going to have to testify?
Juror number 4. I hate your guts too, as I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today. Witnesses' testimony can then lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Gerda. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord.
Take the stand. Take the stand. Take the stand.
Oh wow, there's not gonna chant anymore? This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving to the country, it actually feels real. What about the first time that you represented? Like what? I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. And to be continued.